Hey people, hope you guys doing great. In today's video we will see, what if Naruto was the elf Kitsune and got mass harem with Origa, Cellestine, Cloe? Huge shout out to Zero Arashi Uchiha for this story. His page link is in the description. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe and like the video. So let's start the story. Origa of Discordia, the Dark Elf Queen of the northern lands of Eostia and ruler of Dark Elves, had casted a spell on not only to kill herself along with Volt but on Cloe and Cellestine as well. Volt planned on defiling her just like he had the orcs defile Cloe, and she had no other choice but to commit suicide to kill herself alongside Cloe and her rival/counterpart Cellestine. So she wouldn't go down the path of being a sex slave for Volt. Oh no, she wasn't ready to face that path. With Volt now on the ground dead, she herself fell flat on the ground, closing her eyes. Her world was turning dark. Death took her away. Wherever she was anyway? The Dark Elf Queen was now in a void of darkness, and wondered where was she. Where am I? Am I in hell? She said, looking around, seeing this place was still dark. Origa-sama? Asked a feminine voice behind the Dark Elf Queen, causing her to turn around and see her right-hand maiden Cloe a few feet from her, as they both ran and embraced each other in a hug with happy tears. Are you okay, Origa-sama? The young elf maiden asked. Yes, though I have sealed away our fates, she said, shocking Cloe. We're not in the world of the living? Asked Cloe with wide eyes, with Origa nodding. No. I've casted a spell on you. That bastard Volt and my counterpart, to die. I couldn't risk letting Volt defile you or myself, so I had no other choice and couldn't accept that life of being a sex slave. I'd hope you understand, Cloe, she said in a motherly-like tone with her nodding. Well, isn't that sweet of you, Origa said, another feminine voice, causing both dark elves to turn around to see the green-eyed beautiful Cellestine in their view. Well, isn't this a reunion, Cellestine? Never thought I'd be seeing you again, my longtime enemy, Origa said with her attention locked on her counterpart, scowling while Cellestine scowled back. Wonder why'd you do it? Why you ended not only my life but yours and your maiden too? The former high elf goddess asked. I did it to kill Volt. I can tell he's already got to you, didn't he? I couldn't risk myself to be fated as a sex slave, letting those disgusting humans defile my body, Origa said, narrowing her eyes at Cellestine. Then you shouldn't have formed an alliance with Volt in the first place, and this wouldn't have happened, Cellestine shot back, causing Origa to bring out her scepter, and was going to use it against her counterpart, only to feel pressure suppressed on three of the elves. That is enough, you three, said a heavenly voice, with the void now turning bright white instead of dark. Who said that? Asked Origa, while Cellestine had wide eyes remembering this voice. Kamisama, the former elf goddess said, shocking both Origa and Cloe. Correct you are, Cellestine, said Kami, now looking at the three. Now that I brought you three here in this void, you three are the perfect candidates for this mission, he continued. In another dimension of the human world there is a child burdened with holding a very powerful demon by his own father. This demon was so powerful that the man, who was Hokage of this village, chose to summon the Shinigami to seal away the demon, and asked his son to be seen as a hero. But the boy was not, said Kami, now showing moments of the boy's life where he was attacked, hated by everyone around, and was shown little kindness, with some betraying the young boy. Cellestine had tears in her eyes seeing this much abuse the boy was given. How could the humans be so cruel? Cloe had the same reaction ever since she was a child. Her childhood had been hell for her. Humans always fapped her, and now this boy had the same thing she had, except he wasn't fapped. Origa clenched her fists in anger seeing this abuse put on a child. This was another reason she hated humans. Now part of herself was angry at herself for alliancing herself with Volt, and knew at some point he was going to backstab her sooner or later. Now she hoped he was in hell rotting. But what these humans were doing to a poor boy who couldn't even defend himself was just horrible. Judging by your reactions and anger, I can see you are understanding why I picked you three for this mission, Kami said. Let me guess, you want us to raise him, Kami-sama? Cellestine said. You three will not only raise the boy, train him, but once he is at a certain age you three will be his wives, Kami said, shocking all three the elves. Excuse me. Did I hear that right? Shouted Origa with a look of disbelief, while Cloe had the same reaction Origa had. Did I stutter? No, I didn't. I entrust this mission to you three alone, he stated. You can leave this mission to me and Cloe. We will take the boy. I can't trust my counterpart with this mission, said Origa, narrowing her eyes at Cellestine. Kamisama reconsidered to send only me and not Origa or her maiden, Cellestine said, causing Origa to send her a look that could freeze hell. Origa-sama and I are suited for this mission. Not you, snarled Cloe. Enough! Origa and Cellestine, drop this rivalry at once. You two will work together like it or not. If you two don't get your act together right now, I will send you, Origa, to hell. After all what you did in the land of Eostia, and your maiden can join you too. And Cellestine can go back to the afterlife. I thought you three would be a perfect suggestion for this mission, but I am so very tempted to change my mind, said Kami with his voice fueled with fury, while Origa, Cloe, and Cellestine had looks of horror on their faces. Please, Kamisama, forgive us. Me and my counterpart will work things out, right, Origa? Said Cellestine, looking at her darker self. Yes, we will work things out, Kamisama, said Origa, agreeing with Cellestine. Good, then I will give you three each a gift, he said, shocking the three again. A gift? They said in unison with him, nodding. He aimed his hand at Cellestine, illuminated her with a white light as it lifted her up in the air and dropped her when the light died down. Cellestine, I have given you the power of healing to heal anything and cure anything, and two more gifts I may add. He illuminated her again, giving her two other gifts. You have a weapon. That sword you are given is known as Dawnbreaker. He said. And yes, I added a little Skyrim to the crossover. What does the sword do, my lord? She asked, looking at it. It forged in a holy light that breaks upon foes, burning away corruption and false life. He stated with her looking at him in awe. And my final gift? She asked. Your final gift will be sent to you once you are in the world of the living, he said, now turning to Cloe, illuminating her with the same light on Cellestine. Young Cloe, you are gifted with the power of fire manipulation, crystal manipulation, and a weapon known as Bloodthorn, a dagger that can kill a mortal in 3 seconds. He said, seeing her look appreciated while he turned to Origa. And lastly, you, Origa, he illuminated her with the same light. I gifted you Dark Release, Storm Release, and the Rinnegan, he said. The Rinnegan? She asked. Yes, it is a very powerful Dojutsu that once belonged to the Sage of the Six Paths. You will in time learn its power. Your scepter, I have given it more power as well. Pretty soon it will evolve into a new weapon, he stated. Now I have given you three all of your gifts. Use them wisely to protect each other and to protect the boy Naruto Uzumaki. I will have the Shinigami deliver some powers to the boy for himself. Can I trust you three to fulfill this mission? He asked, looking at them. We accept, Kamisama, Cellestine answered. Yes, my lord, thank you for gifting us and giving us a second chance to live, said Cloe. And W promised to protect the boy and be his future wives, Origa said. Then it's settled. Goodbye, you three, don't let me down. He said, using his power to warp them to Naruto's world. Konoha. Naruto Uzumaki, the 6-year-old who is running from his life from a mob that wants to kill him. The blonde kept running, avoiding pitchforks, kunais, shurikens, and all what was sharp to hurt him as he ran and ran like his life depended on it. Don't let the demon get away. Let's kill it, a villager shouted, with many other agreeing, watching Naruto run and didn't look back at the villagers. Naruto ran as fast as he could before he was scared and nervous, hoping they won't catch him, but sadly the boy tripped and fell on the hard ground. When he was tripped by wire, he struggled getting him. He turned around, seeing the villagers close in on him, and were in no doubt surround him so he wouldn't get away. No! Please don't hurt me, somebody please help me, Naruto screamed, looking in fear with wide eyes. Nobody is going to save you now, demon, said a Chunin. Yeah, this time let's skin him alive, said a male villager as they agreed, walking closer to the boy when suddenly a big pillar of white light shined in between Naruto and the mob. While they gasped and stepped back, looking at the large pillar of light that attracted everyone in the village. The third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, was on his way along with a squad of Anbu, his former teammates. The clan heads and jonins made it to the pillar of white light. What on Kami is that? Asked a villager. Please, I hope nothing bad happened to young Naruto. Foolish villagers, growled Hiruzen in thought, narrowing his eyes at the mob, then turned his attention on the pillar of light. The light was beginning to die down, revealing 3 figures emerging from the tower of light. Within the light revealed Origa of Discordia, wearing her dark elf queen attire, holding her scepter with a stoic expression on her face. Cellestine stood beside her right wearing her cloth-like attire that revealed her skin and private areas. Cloe stood by Origa's left frowning holding her dagger she was given by Kami. She wore her dark elf maiden attire. Everyone was shocked at what they saw, 3 alluring women with pointy ears, and the men couldn't just take their eyes off at the very women who were now in front of Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto watched with wide eyes seeing these 3 women now in front of him. Now he didn't know what to do now. It was like as if Kami sent angels to protect him. So, this is Konoha, spoke Origa, making everyone tense, and she turned her attention on Naruto who was behind her and her friends. Looks like we made it in time. Cellestine, check and see if he needs any treatment, Origa commanded while she nodded and stood beside Naruto checking the young boy to see if he had any wounds. She saw bruises and cuts on him as her right hand glowed in a beautiful white light and touched the boy to heal him. Naruto on the other hand flinched but soothed and feel relaxed after that healing from Cellestine. It's okay Naruto-kun, we're here to help you, Cellestine soothed in a motherly-like tone, picking him up. Oh, how do you know my name? He asked. Ahem. Who are you 3? Asked Hiruzen, who was watching how they were so affectionate towards Naruto. You must be Hiruzen Sarutobi, 3rd Hokage of this pitiful village, said Origa, shocking him and pretty much everyone else when she insulted the village. How dare you insult, said a Konoha Jonin who got blasted by a fireball from Cloe, now burning the Jonin to ashes, shocking everyone. That Jonin has done harm to Naruto-kun 3 times, so he needed to die, she said with Origa smirking. But did you still have to kill him? Hiruzen replied. Some village leader you are. It seems your own people don't follow your law, especially those within your ranks, Origa said with disdain in her voice. Please tell me, who are you? The old Hokage asked. Who am I? I am Origa of Discordia, former queen of the Dark Elves. This here to my left is my right-hand maiden Cloe, and to my right is my counterpart Cellestine, Origa introduced. Former queen? Whispered Hayashi along with a few other clan heads and villagers murmuring about who she was. I demand that we speak indoors instead of speaking out in public, she said. Why yes, we have a council room, we will begin the meeting there, follow along, Hiruzen said with a sigh as he turned heading to the Hokage building with the clan heads and civilian council, while Origa, Cloe and Cellestine, who was holding Naruto, also followed. Council chamber. So Lady Origa, tell us, why are you here in Konoha and what are your intentions? Asked Hiruzen looking at the Dark Elf Queen. I am here for Naruto Uzumaki. Me, Cloe and Cellestine are tasked to watch the boy, she said, hearing many gasps in the room. Why are you so interested in young Uzumaki? Hamura asked. Because he carries a burden that you all don't seem to understand, she said, making the civilian council scowl at her. If I may ask, Lord Hokage, have you been aware of the current beatings and abuses Naruto was given by your villagers and shinobi? Said Cellestine with both councils and Naruto looking at him, while the old man himself had a grim expression. Well? My counterpart has asked you a question, were you aware? Origa asked with a glare. There was silence. I guess judging by your silence that was a yes, she said blankly, causing him to look away in shame while Naruto sat there wide-eyed. The man he calls a surrogate grandpa knew of his beatings and never once punished the ones responsible for it. I knew, but he started but was cut off. Save the excuses for later, Hiruzen. I'm quite surprised you haven't told the boy his. I don't know, heritage, Origa yelled, causing everyone to have wide eyes. How does she know? He thought with fear. Let me explain how I know about his heritage, and this will be a long story to tell, she said, now beginning her story on how her, Cloe and Cellestine came from another world which shocked everyone, and that the elves were in a great war and died bravely for their kingdom, since Origa left out the part that they were nearly enslaved by Volt. So let me get this straight, you 3 died in your own war, then Kami somehow brought you back from the dead to task you 3 on watching Naruto, said Shikaka Nara with Origa giving him a nod. Impressive for a human such as you to be smart, said Origa with a small smirk. Why did you hide the boy's heritage and lie to him, Hiruzen? She asked. I couldn't tell him until he was at a proper age, and when he reaches Chunin, plus the boy's father and mother had enemies, we had to hide his heritage to protect him, reasoned Hiruzen with Naruto narrowing his eyes in anger at the Hiruzen. Who are my parents? Sarutobi, said Naruto with coldness in his voice, shocking him and everyone, while Cellestine had a worried look and Origa had a smirk on her face. Well, Hokage, tell him who his parents are, said Origa, looking pleased with how things are tuning for her. Well, I'm waiting, old man, Naruto said, glaring at him. Your parents are Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, he said grimly, not looking at Naruto, who looked pretty enraged. So you knew all along, didn't you? Naruto whispered. Naruto pleaded. He was cut off by a large amount of killer intent. Shut up. You knew all along, you knew who my parents were. I asked you, did I ever had any parents? And you say no, Naruto, I do not, shouted Naruto, whose eyes turned crimson red with black slits. He was starting to have red chakra leak out of him until he was hugged from behind by Cellestine. Shoo, it's okay, Naruto-kun, calm down, she said in a soothing tone, calming him down while tears leaked from his eyes, hugging Cellestine back. Now what do you have to say for yourself, Sarutobi? Not only you lied to him about his parents, but didn't tell him he had godparents too, Origa said once again, shocking everyone. How do you know so much? Said Danzo, raising from his chair while Origa glared at him and leaked killer intent to make the man sit down. Boy, she didn't like Danzo for some reason. He reminds her of Volt. Kami showed us everything about Naruto's life and told us about his parents. So Hiruzen, what happened to his godparents? Origa asked. His godparents wouldn't come back. Tsunade hates Konoha and doesn't want anything to do with it, and Jiraiya is handling his spy network, he said, causing her to narrow her eyes. Do you take me as a fool, Hiruzen? I know you're lying and speaking half the truth, she said. What are your demands, Origa-sama? He said, looking at her with a grim look. My demands? My first demand is Naruto's lineage to be known and announced in the village. Second demand is that we will be taking up residence in the Namikaze Manor and not live in a terrible apartment. Third, I want every villager and shinobi who has mistreated Naruto in some way severely punished or executed in public. Especially the ones you assigned to protect him. And my last demand is that I want both of his godparents here within 2 weeks, and if they are not here on time, so help me, I will not only tell your daimyo everything that you are doing to the boy, but cast a devastating curse on this village, on half of this village children too, she declared, earning lots of protests from the clan heads. Please, Origa-sama, our children are innocent, pleaded some Inuzuka, who was horrified at the dark elf woman would do. As I said, if those two Sannin are not here by the end of 2 weeks, I will cast this spell before having a personal chat with your daimyo, she said coldly. And one more demand, she said. What is it? He replied. Since Naruto-kun is the last heir of the 2 clans, he will have multiple wives of his choice to revive his clan, understand? Because once he is at the age of 18, me, Cellestine, and Cloe marry him as well, got it? She said, making him nod. Good, then no more fuss. Then it's time to take Naruto to his real home and put him to bed, but first bathe him. We will discuss this more, Hiruzen, Origa said, now standing up, walking out the council chamber with Naruto, Cloe and Cellestine following him, leaving everyone to absorb what was said in the meeting. I am getting too old for this shit, thought Hiruzen with a sigh, dismissing the meeting so he could try contacting Tsunade and Jiraiya. Namikaze estate. After having a meeting with the Hokage and councils, Origa, Cellestine and Cloe found the Namikaze Manor and entered in the house that looked like a mansion for them to hang in. Only problem was that the place looked vacant, as if it was a ghost house, plus it was dark and they couldn't see a thing. Cloe, could you use your fire to light the place up? We can't see, said Origa as Cloe nodded and raised her hand for her hand to turn on fire and saw what the place looked like. Naruto got off of Cellestine and walked over to the light switch, which turned on every light on in the house. This shocked the 3 elves. How did you do that, Naruto-kun? Asked Cellestine. Well, you see this light switch, you flip it on and the lights come on, he explained while the elves listened. Good, now that we have light in this manor, let us introduce ourselves to young Naruto-kun, Origa said with a smile, while they sat down on the couch. So, who are you 3 and why are you here to look after me? He asked with the 3 looking at him. Because Naruto-kun, Kamisama has sent us to protect you, raise you and even marry you once you get older, explained Cellestine with Cloe and Origa nodding. It was true. Whoa, so Kami did send me guardian angels, he said with a wide smile, making the 3 elves smile and blush. Now, Naruto-kun, since we are your surrogate family and future wives, tomorrow will be a new start for you. First, you're getting rid of those orange clothes. Second, we are taking you shopping to buy you new clothes, ninja equipment, and your father's and mother's jutsus, and what else that belongs to them can be handed to you. Before you go back to the academy, I am going to have a word with the Hokage to have Cloe be your bodyguard in the academy, and keep a watchful eyes on those teachers if they so much as give you wrong schoolwork. Cloe has my permission to straighten those teachers. I might even ask the Hokage to let Cloe be a part of your future team someday. Alright? Origa asked with a rare kind smile, causing Naruto to smile more. This is going to be awesome, thank you Origa-chan, he said, hugging the Dark Elf Queen as she hugged back with a smile. Cloe and Cellestine joined in on the hug too. As they broke the hug and Cellestine spoke. Naruto-kun, let's go find the bathroom so you can take a bath, she said, holding his hand, while he followed her, leaving Origa and Cloe alone. So you want me to be his bodyguard, Origa-sama? Cloe asked. Yes, I want you to keep an eye on those teachers. I can't trust either of them, she said with a frown on her face, stroking her scepter. As you wish, Origa-sama, Cloe said. And what of the children that might bully him or make fun of him? Cloe asked, with Origa thinking it over. They won't do nothing stupid as long as you are around him. However, I have to make plans on meeting this Fire Lord, and tell him about what the Hokage let happen in this village towards Naruto. Origa said, also wondering who was the Fire Lord daimyo. Was he a ruler? Since he has a higher status than the Hokage, she secretly had wondered what was it like to become a daimyo herself. It would be just like ruling Eostia, except there are no more dark elves. She would have to rule the human populace, but don't worry, she will make Fire Country her image of what her kingdom used to be, and with Naruto in their care that would make him a prince. She would have to convince Cellestine to allow this, but that will be later. She got up off the couch to look for the bedroom. Since she was getting a little tired, she entered Kushina's room, looking at what belonged to the red-haired kunoichi. As she looked at a picture of Kushina and Minato, looking at another one with Kushina pregnant and Minato standing by her, Origa wondered, was it possible to try to bring the boy's parents back from the dead, but she needed to make a proper spell or find something to make this happen with the use of her black magic. Since Kami gifted her the Rinnegan, Storm Release and Dark Release, she needed to learn how to awaken her powers and use them. She will find a training area to preform her new powers. And since she was in this new world, she needed some new clothes. She went into Kushina's closet and found some clothes that once belonged to her but still tomorrow her. Cellestine and Cloe are shopping for new clothes. They didn't want any men to ogle at them, so that was the first thing they were gonna do tomorrow on their shopping day. Morning. Our elves and young boy were out to breakfast at Ichiraku's. Naruto recommended that they should try ramen, which they first tried one slurp of ramen, and it made the three have appreciated looks at the delectable taste and loved the ramen, thus paid Ichiraku for the meal and went on to start shopping. Since Origa had went to the Konoha bank and asked for the Namake's account to be opened and withdrawn lots of money to be used for shopping, Cellestine and Origa had went to the kunoichi store to find them some clothes, while Origa told Cloe to take Naruto to the store to find him some clothes and guard him. Origa and Cellestine walked into the kunoichi store together to find them some clothes, with many of the women looking at them with envy because of how developed both elves were, and it wasn't fair to them. Origa had picked out some black high heels, purple long-sleeved mesh armor top. Along with it was a black zippered vest that had lightweight armor plates set between two layers of fabric, with the zipper only pulled up to just below her chest. She picked out black pants with purple outlining that would fit snug her lean thighs while hugging her shapely rear and hips. Cellestine picked out a gray and white yukata which would suit her, and some gray sandals and a necklace with little white pearls on it. Origa also brought Cloe something to wear. She brought her surrogate daughter and close friend Umbu attire-like clothes. Origa paid the cashier, who admired Origa and Cellestine's beauty, telling them have a nice day, with the two elves now leaving to meet up with Naruto and Cloe. Origa and Cellestine went back to the Namake's estate to put on their new clothes, with Naruto back putting on his brand new clothes, with Cloe now standing in front of Cellestine and Origa. He's done shopping. Origa-sama also took him to get some shuriken and kunai, Cloe said, bowing to her surrogate mother/caretaker. Very good, Cloe. When he's done putting on his clothes, I want you to take him to the academy. I'm going to meet the Hokage, said Origa, turning towards her counterpart. I will shop for food and cook dinner later on, said Cellestine. Very well, I will be right back and help you, Cellestine, once I'm done talking to the Hokage. Origa said, leaving the house with Cellestine now in the kitchen and Cloe walking towards Naruto's bedroom waiting for him to get dressed and take him to the academy. Hokage Tower? You want Cloe to attend the Shinobi Academy to be Naruto's bodyguard, Hiruzen said with her nodding. Yes, she will be his bodyguard at all times when he's at academy, and once he's graduated I also might want her assigned to his team, understood? She said, looking at him. Very well, it shall be done. I'll inform Irika this so he will know, he said, now having a Chunin send Irika the message. Now on to important matters, Hiruzen. I want what his father and mother had owned, their jutsus and scrolls. And I also want you to set up an appointment with your daimyo so I can talk to him, she said with her expression going stoic. Very well, Origa-sama, is there anything else? He asked in a tired tone while stacking up all his paperwork. Yes, can you give me the addresses to all these clan compounds, since my demand was for Naruto to have more than one woman in his life and I wish to meet the clan heiresses and determine are they fit to be Naruto's future wife or not, Origa said in a more authority tone. Very well, the Hyuga, Inuzuka and Yamanka have clan heiresses, he answered. Good, I will speak to their parents first, then look at the young heiresses. Have you contacted your 2 students and told them to come here? She said, looking at him with a raised eyebrow. Well, I'm still waiting on their reply, hoping my summons have got to them, he said. Good, I will be expecting them once they arrive. Where do you keep his parents' jutsu? She asked. In a vault, let me open it for you, he said, raising from his desk, going over to the wall, revealing a secret vault there, and opened it while she walked over to it, entering in the vault to collect what belonged to Minato's and Kushina's, while Origa's hazel eyes glanced at the forbidden scroll and wondered what was forbidden in there. With Hiruzen not looking at her, she used her black magic to make a duplicate of the forbidden scroll and took the real one, while she placed all scrolls in a bag with her, leaving the vault. Thank you, time for me to go and meet the clan heads and their daughters, she said, leaving the Hokage office with him sighing and turning towards a picture of Minato Namikaze. I hope you can find it out your heart to forgive me, Minato, for failing you, Hiruzen thought. Namikaze estate. Cellestine had just returned from grocery shopping so she can prepare dinner for Naruto, Origa and Cloe. Speaking of Cloe, she had left with Naruto to the academy, leaving Cellestine alone to grocery shop. Before she could finish cutting the carrots, a beam of white light illuminated behind her, with her turning around on guard, drawing out her sword Dawnbreaker, preparing for who was going to attack. The light died down, revealing 2 figures emerging from the light. The first figure was wearing chainmail-like bikini armor, and the other figure was short and was more childlike. These 2 figures were both women, and in an instant Cellestine recognized them. Cellestine-sama? Shouted both women. Claudia! Lulu! Cellestine shouted as she ran up, hugging her 2 friends. This must be what Kami meant by sending her last gift. Namikaze estate. Cellestine, Claudia and Lulu broke their group hug and looked at each other with tears of joy and happiness. Cellestine was surprised and happy that she was able to see her friends and thought she was never going to see them again. With her being in Naruto's world now, Kami had sent her the most wonderful gift ever. So with a bright smile she spoke. Claudia, Lulu, I'm so happy to see the 2 of you again, she said with them, returning her a smile, with Claudia now speaking. It's so good to see you again too, Cellestine-sama. We were worried sick of what happened to you. Did that bastard Volt did anything to you? Or your counterpart Origa of Discordia and her maiden dark elf? Claudia asked, with Lulu frowning at the mention of Origa, causing Cellestine to have a serious expression on her face now. Ladies, there's something I need to talk to you about, said Cellestine in a serious tone as she sat down on the stool. What's this about, Cellestine-sama? Asked Lulu, looking at her leader. I know the both of you won't like this, but I will tell you what has happened, the green-eyed elf former goddess said, while the 2 looked at her as she began explaining to them of where they are both at, and that Kami has given her, Cloe and Origa, a chance to live in a different world, to raise Naruto Uzumaki and marry him someday. Claudia and Lulu had a look of horror, surprise and frown at what they were being told as Claudia decided to talk. So, Origa is here, in this village called Konoha? Alongside her maiden Cloe? Asked Claudia, with Cellestine nodding. Yes, she will be here pretty soon. She's busy at the moment, and so is Cloe. When she gets back I will take you 2 to get some new clothes, Cellestine said as she went back to cooking, while Lulu and Claudia looked at each other, then back at their leader, processing everything that Cellestine told them. Cellestine-sama, said Claudia, with the former elf goddess now turning to her. Are you sure we can trust Origa with you? She said, causing Cellestine to stand there with a light frown on her face. Well, me and her are supposed to get along since we are now in a new life and new world. I suggest the two of you give up your hate on Origa, alright? Right now we are starting anew and let go of the past and be in the future, said Cellestine while thinking of all the wars and battles her and Origa did in Eostia, but wavered that memory while looking at her two friends. Well, if you trust her, Cellestine-sama, then we will too, right, Lulu? Said Claudia while her and Cellestine locked their eyes on the halfling. I guess I could try trusting Origa and her maiden, so let's start anew like Cellestine-sama, said the halfling, replied with a sigh, making both women in the kitchen smile. Good, now want to help me cook? Asked Cellestine with both of her comrades nodding, and started helping the former elf goddess cook. With Origa in Hyuga compound. Origa was sitting in the Hyuga clan council room looking at the Hyuga elders and Hayashi while the Hyuga clan head glanced at her, sweating slightly seeing this woman before him, while she returned him a stoic look while the Hyuga elders scowled at the sight of Origa. Hayashi had informed every member of the Hyuga clan, including the clan elders, that Origa of Discordia was coming to their compound to see them and his clan heiresses. He told them to let her in and show her where the meeting was held at. Greetings, Origa-sama, spoke Hayashi with a bow, looking at her while she in return bowed back to him. Pleasure meeting you, Hayashi-san, she spoke, ignoring the glares she was given by the clan elders. I am here to speak terms of marriage. Hayashi-san, is your clan heiresses here? She asked while the man replied back. My oldest is in the academy while my youngest is here, he replied while she nodded. Care to show me your youngest? She asked with him nodding, signaling a branch Hyuga member to bring his daughter Hanabi Hyuga. While Origa and the Hyuga clan were talking, discussing a marriage with her surrogate son and future husband Naruto Uzumaki to marry one of their heiresses, which caused an uproar with the Hyuga elders. They protested to not have the boy marry either of their heiresses, causing Origa to summon her scepter in hand, slamming the bottom of it on the ground to make the room shake with intense power to show she was not to be angered. We will not have their brat marry our clan heiress, said one Hyuga elder. Hayashi, please reconsider this, we can't allow that, said a second Hyuga elder before he was struck by black lighting from Origa's scepter, making many in the room shiver and pale seeing how she killed him. Call him that, and I promise you that I will cast a curse on this clan, she said with a cold tone that sent a chill down their spines. Before anything else could happen, the Hyuga branch member walked in the meeting room with Hanabi, who looks to be 8 years old, causing Origa's frown to deepen. This is my youngest Hanabi, he said while motioning his daughter to bow to the dark elf queen. Hello, Origa-sama, she said with a kind tone. Hello, Hanabi, Origa greeted back while looking at Hayashi. Well? He answered with her face going blank. She's far too young to marry. How old is your oldest? She asked with him frowning a bit before sighing. She's around Naruto's age, Origa-sama, he replied back. Very well then, since she's at the academy I will return later to meet her. I wish to test your oldest daughter. Is she qualified to be Naruto's future wife? Origa said, standing up from her seat getting ready to leave. What time will you be coming back to see her, Origa-sama, he asked with her stopping and turned to look at him. I will return in the afternoon or by sundown, she stated, now leaving the Hyuga compound. Next stop to the Inuzuka compound, and last the Yamenkash thought, now heading her way to the Inuzukas. Inuzuka compound. Some Inuzuka already know that Origa is coming over. She already had a meeting with her whole clan about the issue of her coming here and marriage of Hana Inuzuka. Speaking of Hana, she was surprised of what her mother told her, and couldn't believe that she was going to be chosen to marry Naruto even though he's a pup, but some told her when he's at a certain age he will become a fine alpha to her. Listen up, Origa-sama will be here any minute. Show respect and treat her like a guest, said Some with all her clan members, now with an Inuzuka member now letting Some know that Origa was here, and she told him to guide her to the meeting room. The doors opened, revealing Origa holding her scepter, making all the Inuzuka males in the meeting room have hearts in their eyes and perverted looks, but shuddered when they heard the female Inuzukas growl at them. The females looked jealous at Origa's astounding body figure and the assets she possessed. Some looked a little jealous too and thought one thing. Damn, her tits are as big as Tsunade's, remarked Some in thought, noticing the looks her clan members were giving Origa now, and sent them a look to focus while she sent the male members of her clan a death glare which made them whimper. Somewhere in Fire Country a certain big-breasted slug Sanin sneezed. Someone must be talking about me or my chest, thought Tsunade, who was in the middle of a gamble. Welcome, Origa-sama, take your seat. I am some Inuzuka clan head of the Inuzuka clan, she introduced, with Origa nodding with a small smile and glancing towards Hana, who was next at Tsum, who felt a bit nervous looking at the dark elf before her. Pleased to meet Tsum-san, I take it this woman by your left is your daughter, correct? Wondered Origa, with the clan head nodding while Tsum turned to her daughter with a look motioning her towards the dark elf. Hello Origa-sama, nice meeting you. I am Hana Inuzuka, the older woman greeted, while Origa in turn smiled and observed the Inuzuka heiress in front of her. I must say you look attractive, Hana-san. I'm quite sure Naruto would find you appealing, said Origa, causing Hana to have a light blush on her face, with many males in the room scowl and have a look of jealousy. Really? Hana said, with the dark elf nodding. Why yes, but I want to test you, Hana, to see are you fit to become my future husband's wife, Origa stated, with all the males in the room jaw dropped at what she said, with some looking shocked, as did Hana. Why, you're marrying Naruto too? She shouted with disbelief, while Origa nodded with a blank look. Yes, until he is 18 I will marry him. You will also marry him at that age, understand? She said with authority in her voice, causing the Inuzuka female to nod. Good, now will you swear your loyalty for Naruto once you are his wife? Someday, said Origa, watching Hana, who looked tensed. Yes, Origa-sama, I will swear my loyalty on my future mate as a female Inuzuka. My loyalty stands tall, and our bond will never be broken, Hana said, looking directly at the dark elf woman, who was giving her a piercing stare to see if the woman was true to her words. I am impressed. You swear your loyalty to him now. You don't mind him having several other women to marry him to, right? Said Origa, watching the Inuzuka heiress closely. I do not mind at all, Origa-sama, since I am aware of Konoha's Ciare, she said. And everyone should know what the Ciare means. Very good, then it seems you are fit to be his wife when he is 18. Hana-san, you passed the test. I look forward to seeing you one day in the Namake's estate, said Origa with a small smile, while the Inuzuka heiress herself smiled and bowed to the dark elf woman. Thank you, Origa-sama, she replied, watching the dark elf turn away and was leaving the Inuzuka clan home. Now all there is left is to go to the Yamanka clan compound and head back to the Namake's estate to help Cellestine cook, thought Origa, now have left the Inuzuka compound and was heading to the Yamanka clan home. Shinobi Academy. In Irika's classroom, he was writing down attendance for those who are supposed to be here in class, checked off all that were in his classroom. However, there was only one person who wasn't in his classroom, and he figured that one student that wasn't in his classroom and was being late was Naruto Uzumaki. He wondered, did Naruto overslept again, or is skipping school to do his pranks? With a sigh, he knew he had to start class. Morning class today we will be. He was cut off when the door opened, revealing Naruto, and saw another person he didn't recognize as his eyes widened along with many others in the classroom at Naruto's attire. And who was this woman besides him? Naruto was wearing black sandals, black camo shorts, and a black t-shirt with a Konoha symbol on the front of it colored in white, as he was wearing a black bracelet and fingerless black gloves on his hands and had a kunai pouch attached to his right leg. An AR Naruto? Asked a shocked Irika, looking at the blonde and looked at the dark elf besides the blonde. Who are you? Irika said, now having his eyes on Cloe, with her giving the scarred-faced Chunin a blank look. I am Naruto-kun's guard and new student of the academy, Cloe answered, who was wearing modified umbu attire with a scarf around her neck as her dagger was attached to her left side hip, wearing tight black umbu pants and a modified gray umbu chest armor with a sash over it while wearing boots. New student? Irika and the class all thought, looking at the woman before them who looked older than Irika. Before he could talk to Cloe, a Chunin stood by him and given Irika a letter as the Chunin left, leaving him to read the said letter, with him having wide eyes at what was being said in the letter, and it came from the Hokage, before lifting his face to look at Cloe. Ahem, class, we have a new student. She will be attending the academy for some time now. Her name is Cloe, Irika said, with the class all staring at her. Greetings, children, she greeted with them, looking at her, waving their hands. The rookies had different reactions. Sasuke had a blank face, looking at the woman before him and looked at her, as if she was strong. He hoped Cloe was strong. Sakura and Ino had looks of envy on their faces, hoping this woman isn't interested in their Sasuke-kun. Hinata stared at Cloe and was wondering who was this woman to her Naruto-kun, his caretaker. And why does she have pointy ears? Kiba sent her a perverted look, seeing how hot Cloe looked. Shikamaru was asleep during this. Choji was munching on his chips looking at her. Shino's reaction was hard to see with his sunglasses on his face, but his bugs was telling him that this woman has unusual power. Lee and Tenten just stared at her with Tenten eyeing the dagger Chloe had. Niji stared at the woman. "You may take a seat, Chloe," and Naruto Iruka said with a light smile. "Thanks, Iruka-sensei." "Come, Chloe-chan," he said, shocking the others in the room when they heard the suffix he gave the dark elf woman, who smiled and followed him up to find a desk and sit down, getting ready for class, with Iruka gaining now full attention of the class while Chloe watched the whole classroom like a hawk. Elsewhere in Fire Country, a certain toad sage was reading a letter he was given by a monkey summons who so happens to belong to his senseis. As Jiraiya the toad sage frowned at what was being said in the letter and hoped that his sensei had an excuse for summoning him back to Konoha to meet this dark elf queen. The letter also told him to bring Tsunade with him and find her, since in the letter the dark elf demanded for both Jiraiya and Tsunade to return to Konoha. Now Jiraiya knew Tsunade doesn't want nothing to do with Konoha, given how she said that Konoha gives her bad memories since she lost her brother, her lover and surrogate daughter Kushina, since they seemed close, and her godson Naruto, but Tsunade doesn't know that her godson is alive. Hiruzen had to get Jiraiya to help him lie to her about Naruto dead, and if Tsunade finds out about her godson alive, she would beat both her sensei and teammate within an inch of their life. Jiraiya paled at the thought of Tsunade beating him into a pulp. He didn't want to lie to her, but he had to, since the toads had mentioned a prophecy about the Destiny Child would choose either to destroy the world or save it. Plus, with the loss of his student Minato, he couldn't raise Naruto because the child reminded him of Minato's death to the QB alongside Kushina. The toad sage sighed and raised up, getting ready to have his spy network locate his teammate and find her, retrieving her back to Konoha with him. Konoha Shinobi Academy. Naruto is in recess with the other kids while Chloe watched him like a hawk, while Hinata looked from her crush to his bodyguard and was curious to who she was and wanted to get to know the woman that's guarding her crush. So with little courage, the young Hyuga heiress decided to walk over and speak to the dark elf maiden. Excuse me, the Hyuga heiress said softly, getting Chloe's attention as her eyes looked down on the young girl. Yes? Chloe asked, watching Hinata. Are you by chance Naruto-kun's new guardian or caretaker? I never seen you here before, spoke Hinata, looking at the tall blonde dark elf. Chloe though looked at Hinata with a brow raised and noticed the suffix she used for Naruto. Why, yes, I am. Who are you, young lady? Chloe asked, wondering why this little girl's so interested in Naruto. I am Hinata, Hyuga heiress of the Hyuga clan, Hinata introduced. My name is Chloe Hinata. Origa-sama has asked for me to guard Naruto-kun, meaning I am his full-time bodyguard for the academy until he graduates, and I may join his team, said Chloe, while Hinata widened her eyes at what the dark elf said. She is going to be put on his future team if he graduates? Thought Hinata while holding back a frown. I will not lose to you, Chloe, she thought. So Chloe, who is Origa? Asked Hinata, looking at Chloe. Origa-sama is queen of the dark elves, well, former queen, and since you're an heiress to the Hyuga clan, I believe Origa-sama is looking for you, stated Chloe, while her attention was locked on Naruto, who was trying to impress a pink-haired girl. Looking for me, why? Hinata asked, confused about what Chloe said. You'll see once you return home, I'm sure your parents will tell you, said Chloe. Hey Sakura-chan, said Naruto with a big smile, while she turned and looked at him with a frown. Leave me alone, Naruto baka, she yelled, causing Chloe to narrow her eyes at Sakura, with him slumping down sadly. Sakura-chan, I got you some flowers, he said, trying to give the pink-haired girl some, while she turned around and smacked them out his hands. I don't want your flowers. I want Sasuke-kun to give me some flowers only, she yelled, shaking her fist, going to bop him on the head, only to find her wrist caught and twisted by Chloe, with Sakura screaming in pain, looking up at the dark elf, who held a cold look on her face. Everyone in recess just stared in shock and flinched, seeing Chloe's cold gaze. Hit him and I will twist your arm, threatened Chloe, while Sakura was in tears looking at her. Hey pointed ear freak, let her go, yelled Ino, trying to save her friend, only for Chloe to shoot her a cold glance, trying to hold her temper at the fact she was just insulted. Chloe pushed Sakura down, now walking towards Ino, who looked very much afraid of Chloe. The blonde was sweating and paled, seeing Chloe in front of her, grabbing her by the neck. Call me that again and I'll cut your hair, that you're so proud of, said Cloe in a dangerous tone, pulling out her dagger, aiming it near her hair, with Ino flinching and looked horrified at what Cloe would do. "Chloe-chan," spoke Naruto, who got her attention. "Please don't hurt Ino, I'm pretty sure she didn't mean to insult you," he said, trying to defuse the situation before things could fall out of place. Cloe sighed, closing her eyes, dropping Ino, who was gagging and catching her breath. "Consider yourself lucky that Naruto-kun saved your pathetic life from my wraith," Cloe spat, sheathing her dagger, and walked back towards Naruto. "Recess is over, what's going on?" asked Irika, who just now came. "Nothing, Irika-sensei, nothing at all," said Naruto, who was holding Chloe's hand, walking back into those who witnessed what they saw had shock in their eyes. "Okay, everybody return to the classroom," Irika said, with everybody doing what he said. Yamanka compound. Inochi is already speaking to Origa of Discordia about having his daughter marry Naruto, but from what the former Dark Elf Queen heard from the blonde man was that his daughter was interested in the last Uchiha. Origa, however, looked a little displeased at what she heard and was not happy. "So your daughter has eyes for this Uchiha Sasuke?" Origa asked, with him nodding. "Yes, pretty much every girl in the Shinobi Academy likes the last Uchiha," said Inoichi. Origa frowned, not liking this. "She is a fangirl, she's obsessed with the Uchiha," he continued. "Well, if that's the case, then I think it's time she gets over her so-called obsession with the last Uchiha," spoke Origa with disgust. "My wife might not like the idea of wanting Ino to marry Naruto," he said, causing her to glare at him. "And why is that?" she asked with a frown. "Well, you see, my wife, she disliked the boy, and I tried to get her to understand that he wasn't the Kyuubi. But she has so much hate for Naruto," he said, with Origa's glare increasing. "Explain," she mumbled. "On the night of the Kyuubi attack, my wife's sister died in the attack, and she blames Naruto for her sister's death," he said grimly. "Is that so?" Origa said with disdain as the blonde nodded. "Call your wife in here," Origa said, shocking him. "But this meeting is private between us," he protested, fearing for what Origa would do to his wife. "Call her in." "I will not ask twice," she said with killer intent, shocking him. "Honey, can you come here for a bit?" he said, not wanting to anger Origa. "Inoichi dear, what is it, yo?" said his wife, who walked in looking shocked at seeing Origa. "Inoichi, who the hell is this?" shouted his wife, glaring at Origa, who looked unfazed. "Kana, this is Origa of Discordia, she is our guest," he said. "What does she want?" Kana asked, while he had a look of worry on his face, walking towards his wife, whispering in her ear. Kana listened to what her husband said, but she looked livid and glared hatefully at Origa. "Like hell I will let that demon spawn marry my little girl," Kana shouted at the Dark Elf Queen. "Your daughter has no choice in the matter, she will marry Naruto, since she is a clan heiress," spoke Origa in a chilly tone. "Who the hell do you think you are? You pointed-eared bitch, I'm not letting that thing marry her if it's the last thing I do," Kana yelled with fury, while Origa narrowed her eyes. "Honey, please calm down," pleaded Inoichi, but his wife ignored him. "That demon will not tuak," Kana said before she could speak. Origa pointed Kana's throat, channeling her dark magic into the woman's throat, disrupting the woman's vocal cords. Kana tried to speak but couldn't. Her eyes widened in fear and tried to talk but still couldn't. Inoichi sat there wide-eyed watching this, turning towards Origa, who was going to leave. "What did you do?" he shouted. "I'm going to make my point right. I casted a spell on her throat, disrupting her vocal cords, stopping her from ever talking again. Only I can cancel the spell. You will talk to your daughter about her marriage to Naruto. And if she declined, I will not only cast a horrifying spell on your wife, but on your daughter too, if not then your whole clan," Origa threatened, with him looking at her with horror. "Talk to your daughter, I will be expecting to meet her tomorrow." "I mean what I said, Inoichi," Origa said, leaving him and his wife, who lost the ability to talk temporarily. "Elsewhere." "I'm sorry, Jiraiya, but care to repeat that again? I think my hearing has gotten bad due to me drinking sake," said an angry blonde woman with a big chest, glaring at her old teammate with furious anger. "Our godson, Naruto Uzumaki, is alive, and Sensei wants us to return to the village now," said Jiraiya, who flinched, looking at her deadly glare as she shoved him in a wall. "My godson is alive, so in other words, you and Sensei both lied to me about him being dead," she shouted angrily, getting ready to punch him in the face. Please wait, listen to me. Tsunade Haim-sensei requested us both back to the village to see some dark elf queen. She is demanding for our return. If we don't, she will cast a curse on Konoha, said Jiraiya, who cringed in pain. Shizen, yelled Tsunade. Yes, Tsunade-sama? Came Shizen, who held a pig and looked at her mentor holding Jiraiya to a wall. Pack up and get ready to leave. We are going to Konoha, and as for you, Jiraiya, you are coming with us. Or else I'll wail on your perverted life, she yelled with fury, causing him to nod weakly. Because when I get to Konoha, I demand answers from both you and Sensei on why you lied to me and what has become of my godson, Tsunade said, dropping him before kicking him hard in the gut twice, making him roll over and howl in pain. Namike's manor. Naruto and Cloe were now heading to the door, opening it as they walked inside, coming back from the Shinobi Academy. We're home, said Naruto with Cloe standing beside him. Welcome home, Naruto-kun, you're here just in time for dinner. Why don't you and Cloe-san come get ready, said the soothing voice of Cellestine as Cloe was going to answer. Has Origa-sama returned? Said Cloe, worried for her mother figure / mistress. No, I haven't heard from her yet. She should be back by now, said Cellestine from the kitchen as both Naruto and Cloe walk inside, widening both their eyes to unexpected guests. Who are they? Naruto said with Cloe frowning. I believe these are Celestine's friends, Cloe said, watching the two curiously. Right you are, you must be Origa's maiden. Cloe? Said Claudia, looking directly at the blonde dark elf, who also stared back. Correct, she said in a monotone, while the halfling, who was Lulu, looking in between the two. How did they get here, Cellestine? Asked Naruto, looking at the blonde elf high elf. Kamisama sent them here, she answered with Cloe widening her red eyes at this. Naruto, allow me to introduce Claudia and Lulu. They are new here and will be living with us, said Cellestine, with Naruto shaking his hand with Claudia and Lulu. Welcome, nice meeting the two of you, said Naruto as they were going to speak. That was until Origa had finally made her appearance, surprising both Lulu and Claudia. Well, this is another unexpected reunion. Claudia and the halfling, said Origa in a monotone, looking at Cellestine. I believe Kami had something to do with this, didn't he? Said Origa with her counterpart nodding. So you told them everything, right? She asked with Cellestine nodding again. Very well. I'll tolerate them for now. I see you've cooked dinner. Let's get started, Origa said, with everybody agreeing, sitting at the table eating the dinner Cellestine cooked. Later that night, everyone was sound asleep except Origa. Origa was opening the forbidden scroll, reading its secrets, and seeing lots of forbidden jutsu in here. Her amber eyes were focusing on the reanimation jutsu known as the Edo Tensei Jutsu. She focused on this jutsu for a while, reading its information and what risks it could do. She wondered, was it possible to use this jutsu with a mix of her black magic to revive Naruto's parents? In order to do it, she would have to seek for the grave of both Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze and retrieve their bodies or remains in ashes to complete her spell using the mix of the Edo Tensei. Origa had a plan to rise to the top. This is the perfect opportunity to do what she planned. Once she needed to convince the Fire Lord Daimyo to be her advisor. Once she does that, she will secretly kill the said Daimyo and take the throne, ruling Fire Country, then make Fire Country her own image of Eostia after she died, killing Volt. Now for Naruto, she plans on reviving his parents and train him. Little of her dark magic. Now she was reading Kushina's scrolls, learning the Uzumaki legacy, also learning about Whirlpool Country, the land of Yuzu, Kushina's former country. Origa made a mental note on doing a private discovery of finding Whirlpool Country. She asked Cloe today, did the academy had anything or discussed about the Uzumaki? Cloe had said not one historical data about the Uzumaki was in the academy. Origa found that odd, unless the Hokage and the civilian council erased everything regarding Uzumaki clan. She would have to look deep into this, because before Origa finished seeing all of the clan heirs and their parents, she herself went to the Konoha library to find knowledge and history of the Uzumaki, only to not find none in the library. Closing up all the scrolls before hiding them, she went to bed to think more for her plans. Konoha day and a half. At the Konoha gates were Tsunade Senju, who was dragging a broken body covered in bandages. Jiraiya, the body looked barely alive, with Shizen following up her master. This village needs a good sharp kick in the ass, said the angry Senju. Once she made it to the Hokage tower, she tossed Jiraiya to the wall, leaving a spiderweb imprint on it as she stomped to the Hokage office, kicking the door down, surprising him with the pile of paperwork collapsed. Tsunade? Why did you kick down my door? Where is Jiraiya? Said the Sandaime, currently sweating only to have his answer questioned when he saw Jiraiya crawling in his broken form. So, sensei, care to tell me what happened to my godson while I was drowning in sorrow? She said with a hint of sweetness that didn't mean anything good, as he sweated more. I believe I can answer that, said Origa, with Tsunade turning her full attention on her, seeing the Dark Elf Queen. And who are you supposed to be? Are you this Dark Elf Jiraiya told me about? Said Tsunade, with Origa nodding. Do sit and let's talk, Origa said, looking at Tsunade's form and figure. Tsunade did as she told, but looked at the Dark Elf. I am Tsunade Senju, granddaughter of the Shodaime Hokage and grandniece to my grand-uncle the Nidaime Hokage. This idiot covered in bandages is my former teammate Jiraiya, and to my left is Shizen, my student, introduced Tsunade with respect towards Origa. Pleased meeting you. I am Origa of Discordia, former Dark Elf Queen of Eostia, said Origa, looking at her. I take it you know why you're here? She said, seeing Tsunade nod. Yes. I came here to see my godson. I heard everything, including the details regarding his life. My idiot for a teammate wouldn't tell me what has been going on and why he and my so-called sensei lied to me about Naruto being dead, so I had to beat it out of him to tell me everything, explained Tsunade, seeing her sensei pale and sweat more. He sweated even more at her furious glare directed at him. So you don't hate Naruto in any way? Asked Origa, with the Senju shaking her head. No, I always wanted to love him as if he was my son, but these two idiots I trusted with my life lied to me, said Tsunade, glaring daggers at her sensei, who flinched at her stare and killer intent. She no longer trusted Jiraiya and her sensei anymore. Son of Tsunade, please listen, I pleaded Hiruzen, with her scowling at him. Listen? Listen to you? Like I listened to both you and Jiraiya lying to my face about my godson dead. I can't believe I foolishly believed the two of you. You know damn well I could have raised him, like Minato and Kushina wanted. They both would be rolling over their graves for what the two of you and what this village done to their child, said Tsunade, with fury, looking quite livid. Jiraiya tried to speak of reason but couldn't, due to his jaw broken when Tsunade beat the hell out of him. Origa smirked watching this. So Tsunade, what will you do now that you learned of your godson being alive, said Origa. I'm going to do what I should have done a long time ago. It's clear that I can't trust my teammate and sensei with Naruto's well-being. He most definitely isn't qualified or trusted as staying as Hokage. For Naruto's sake, I will take up being Hokage and run things my way in this village, said Tsunade, shocking both Hiruzen and Jiraiya. Agreed, and sure Naruto would love seeing his godmother. Meet me at the Namikaze Manor, Tsunade, we have much to discuss. I'll leave you here for now, Origa said, making Tsunade nod, with the former Dark Elf Queen leaving her alone with both Hiruzen and Jiraiya. Tsunade, please. Have mercy, said Hiruzen with hint of fear, seeing her cracking her knuckles. Mercy? Sorry, I'm fresh out of mercy, said Tsunade as she flipped the table over before beating the hell out of her sensei, going to give him the same beating she did to Jiraiya. Namikaze Manor. It has been a week since Tsunade Senju has been made the new 5th Hokage. That's right. Things have become much different than before. Tsunade had knocked the civilian council down a few pegs, and the elders putting them in their place as her first act as Hokage. She even had those who made Naruto's life hell executed. Tsunade and Shizen even had the medics of the Konoha hospital fired and executed depending on what crimes they did to Naruto. While this was going on, things were getting much better for Naruto and future wives. Cloe still goes to the academy with him. He spent some time with Claudia and Lulu, getting to know them. Origa Discordia made it her business to speak with the Hyuga clan and approves of Hinata being Naruto's future lover. Cloe told Origa that she encountered the lavender-eyed girl at the academy and could tell that the girl loved Naruto. Now it all comes down to Ino. Origa will be observing Ino. Next day at the academy, Naruto of course was in the classroom learning and whatnot, with Cloe besides him helping him. Mizuki was glaring at the dark elf bitch and demon before him. How could the Sandaime allow this? It's a shame Tsunade Senju is now the 5th Hokage and gave this village a sharp kick in the ass. Meaning he will have to tread carefully of what will happen. He can't do anything with that dark elf girl standing beside him guarding him 24/7. Later on, Naruto would be shopping with Claudia, Lulu, and Cloe. Getting groceries for dinner later on, with Cellestine being the cook. They love her cooking. Walking past a few drunk chunins and jonins who stared enviously at Naruto, who is surrounded by hot babes. They were actually referring to Cloe and Claudia. Lulu looks like a little girl who is young enough to be his sister. "Hey hottie! Why don't you leave the demon brat and come over here with real men?" said a drunk jonin, with Claudia glaring and Cloe scowling. "Yeah! Come join us, you two need real men," said a chunin. "Leave them alone," said Naruto, not liking how they trying to get with his wives. "Yeah, leave Claudia-sama and Chloe-san alone," yelled Lulu, bringing up her war axe. "Oh, shut up, demon brat, it's not fair that you have those two all to yourself. They need real men." Before he and his friends could say anything else, they were burned to ashes on the spot by Cloe, who tossed a fireball at them. "Was it really necessary to do that?" asked Claudia, staring at Cloe with a heavy frown. "Yes. Yes, it was. They are nothing but pigs," said Cloe as her and the rest made it to the store to get some groceries. After getting their groceries, they headed back to the Namake's manor to help Cellestine prepare for dinner. This evening, at the Namake's manor, Cellestine is currently cooking with Claudia and Lulu helping her. Cloe is helping Naruto study and help him with his homework. Origa would come back taking a nice hot shower and come down just in time for dinner. Now all of them are sitting at the dinner table eating and talking to Naruto, asking him how was the academy, and he tells them that it was good and that there was no problems either. Pleased both Origa and Cellestine were, they are actually getting settled in a ninja village. All they had to do was raise Naruto the best way they can and love him, help him become something great that his parents would be both proud of. Dinner is over, now everyone is heading to bed. Cellestine tucks Naruto in bed and is sleeping with him. Same with Origa. Both elves were in bed with the boy. Konoha 6 years later. 6 years it has been since Origa, Cloe, Cellestine, including Claudia and Rura, have lived here in Konoha for 6 years with Naruto in Namake's Uzumaki, where they resided in the Namake's manor. They raised him into a nice young man. He is doing well in the ninja academy and is progressing well, with the surprise of many students along with those in his class. Some teachers who did not want to grade the Uzumaki boy for his schoolwork and whatnot, including passing some tests, they were fired on the spot by the Hokage Tsunade. Even the principal was fired when a bunch of students tried to wise up on Naruto and fight him in a school hallway. The principal came and said that he is going to suspend Naruto or probably expel him. That was until Cloe came into the picture, as Naruto told her his side of the story, that he was defending himself against the bullies, and she believed him, knowing that ever since Naruto had gotten better in the academy, many students were starting to get jealous of him and tried knocking him down a few pegs like they did when he was little, but now he's showing a backbone towards others due to Cloe being around him, telling the boy to start standing up for himself. In which he did, and when she heard the principal threaten Naruto to suspend him or expel him for defending himself, she decided to report this to Tsunade Senju, who is now the 5th Hokage, and when the Senju Hokage heard this, she instantly fired the principal on the spot and replaced him with a more level-headed one. Things have changed for the last 6 years. Let's start with our guests here in Konoha. Cellestine Lucross, who still looks beautiful as ever. Her appearance changed. Instead of wearing her lewd appearance, she wears a sparkling white gown and white top with light decals on it. She is learning on how to cook. Both her and Origa both cook for the household. Cloe, the half-dark elf, is still a student to the Shinobi Academy and bodyguard to Naruto. Their relationship blossomed over the past 6 years. And he's the only human male she'll accept. She'll hate all others but him. She and him both have hard lives in their childhood. She could see herself in him when he was 6 years of age. No family, no friends, not loved or wanted, because her actual parents sold her to slavery to a noble named John Mendel, who used her as a sex slave. There was even abuse in her days when she was once his slave. She managed to escape her slave life. That was until Origa had found her and took her in as her ward and friend, and kinda like a adoptive daughter in a way. But now the dark past she had is buried under while she loves her new life to be betrothed to Naruto, while at the same time she herself made herself another friend, a human friend one named Mitarashi Anko, another woman who is hated for being the student of the snake Sannin Orochimaru who is a traitor to the Leaf Village. So her, Anko and Naruto had hard lives. She herself vowed she would be a great wife for Naruto. She noticed Anko has snake-like powers and she wanted to learn from the snake woman in Konoha, in which she did and began taking a liking to snakes. Ruru. The halfling is also loving the new life here in Konoha and has lived in the Namikaze household and has gotten to know Naruto and became his sister. The two became close. She wore new clothes and got rid of her old ones and of course kept her trusty war axe. And for those who wanted Ruru in the harem, I'm sorry I can't do it. I'm not into Lilicon, so accept that she can be his sister. Claudia Levantine. She too even fell for Naruto's charm and began to love him. She knows she can no longer be with her husband Klaus, who is still in their former homeworld. She still remains as Cellestine's bodyguard, as her appearance had changed also. She kept her hair the same. She now wore Umbu armor and a new sword. She began taking kenjutsu lessons from Hate and Yugao to make her into a great swordswoman with a new katana. And last but not least, Origa Discordia. The Dark Elf Queen along with Cellestine both run the house of Namikaze and is teaching and raising Naruto the best way they can, as she made it her business to make sure those who are chosen to be betrothed to their shared husband. Hinata, Hana, and Ino. All three of them are the clan heiresses of the village and are to marry Naruto once he is at a proper age. Our Dark Queen is wearing a light purple kimono with her hair down and not wearing her crown, yet kept her scepter as her weapon. She even taught the boy on how to perform dark magic. That was their lives now. It was almost time for Naruto's graduation day, as Origa and Cellestine made up plans for Naruto's graduation by letting him have a little party, inviting some of his genin friends into the party of his choice, including the clan heads and Tsunade Senju. Naruto, our sunspot blonde, had aged 12 years old now and lived a much better life than he did before. No longer wearing orange, he wore dark shorts, a dark top with the Uzumaki swirl on it, wearing black sandals. He loved all the women that lived in his house, including his adoptive sister Ruru. He made lots of bonds with Cellestine, Claudia, Cloe, Ruru and Origa, including his godmother Tsunade and her student Shizen. He even made bonds with his future wives Hinata, Hana and Ino. Made new friends, Shikamaru and Choji. Now the boy is going to graduate soon, and is going to become a genin. He wonders who will be on his team? Origa already spoke with Tsunade to add Cloe on Naruto's team to stay with him at all times, in which she allowed. Academy. Now the boy is sitting with Cloe. Today is the day he passes his exams. He looked at everyone as he paid attention to Irika, who is going through the lectures. Alright class, time for the first part of the exams. Taijutsu, he says. Starting with Naruto and Sasuke Uchiha, Irika declared, with the fangirls of the Uchiha cheered, with Sakura cheering for him the most. Ino, however, wasn't, as she looked towards Naruto as Hinata watched by her. When she was told by her father that she has to marry Naruto, she was outraged, and that she did not want the boy, she wanted Sasuke. That was until Origa Discordia came to the picture and break her little crush on Sasuke by telling her about Naruto's harsh life, in which Ino felt sorry for not really understanding Naruto, and that she was kind of a bitch towards him in the past when she would bully and belittle him with Sakura and the rest of the kids. It was then she decided to try getting to know the boy she's going to marry when she's at age along with Naruto. Cloe gave Naruto a smile. Kick his ass, Naruto-kun, Cloe says in a whisper as he smiled back, nodding as he walked over to the ring where Sasuke would wait for him there. Ready to lose, dope? Sasuke says arrogantly. I should be asking you that, Naruto replied back. Both boys got into stances. Okay, ready? Fight, Irika shouted out as the two decide to fight it out. Chapter end. Tired of watching censored fanfics? Would you like to watch some very naughty, filled with the lemons fanfics without any censorship? I'm happy to announce that I opened Patreon page for you guys, where you could watch Naruto/Deku, 18+ stories without any censoring. Not only that, you can also see the NSFW images of characters of the fics on my Patreon, which I make by myself. so buy your preferred tier and join our community now. Link is in the description.